In this show, we're answering all of your Apple questions, so let's get straight into those. I'm iCave Dave and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. And let's get into your first questions. This one comes from Josh, hashtag iCaveAnswers. What would you rate Mac out of 10 and Windows out of 10? Now, this doesn't seem super fair on Windows. I'm very much an Apple creator, so I've not really used Windows full time for probably the best part of a decade, in fact longer than that. Now I do use a Windows laptop for work. It is a current model, so it is from I think 2020, maybe 2019. It's got an 8th gen Intel processor and it is slow as molasses. It is just horrendous, and I don't know if that's because of Windows or if it's because it's just an HP laptop or what the issue is, but the experience with Windows, things just don't seem to work the way you would expect, especially when you've been on a Mac for a long time. So Mac out of 10, it's not perfect, but I would give it a solid 8. Windows out of 10, it's very not perfect, but it can run some stuff that the Mac can't, so I'm going to give it like a 6. I'm feeling kind of generous for Windows there. Randomness R asks, iCaveAnswers, hey, do we see the AirPods 3 announced tomorrow via press release? Now, this one came in a few days ago, and I think there was some talk of getting the press release on Tuesday. That didn't happen at this point. I still think there's a possibility that we might get them later on this week, but I'm not necessarily holding my breath. It is an easy thing they could throw in at the beginning of the next Apple event and have done with it. However, they also don't normally announce AirPods at events unless there's something crazy they need to talk about, but AirPods Pro never got an event, AirPods Max never got an event, so the chances are it's more likely to be a press release. Joe asks, iCaveAnswers, I'm back, truly miss watching your videos. Do you think Apple is going to remove the plastic off the iPad and MacBook packaging or not? So this is referring to the new iPhone packaging where they've just got a little pull strip that you take off rather than having the whole thing wrapped in plastic. Apple says that is going to save 600 tons of plastic going to landfill every year, which is a very noble thing to do for the sake of just putting a sticker on there. So I do think that they will do. I don't think it's going to be straight away. I think it will probably be on the next product cycle because we've just seen the new iPads. They've come over with the plastic wrap still on there. The new iPad mini did as well. Perhaps these have been sitting on the shelf a little bit longer than the iPhones. Maybe they made that decision a little bit later. I think we will see everything transition over though, because even the AirTags had one of those stickers too, rather than a plastic wrap. Sharon B asks, iCaveAnswers, can you poll reviewers for quick reactions on the variable 120Hz refresh rate? Many are already on record about whether it should be a deciding factor on upgrading. We had to hear about it for so long, but what's the verdict? So I would say the reviewers online, if they're not an Apple focused channel, they seem to not really care. They're like, oh, that's nice. Apple focused people that have been waiting for it for so long, like, think it's the best thing that's ever happened. I honestly am still not enamoured with the idea in particular. The fact that they have got it ramping down to lower refresh rates as well is actually part of the reason that the battery life is better, and that I definitely appreciate. Having a feature like ProMotion that appears to only be something that people can see when they film their phone in slow motion on something else, and then saying how much better it is when most people are saying they can't tell the difference, it just seems like a massive deal has been made of something that doesn't really matter that much. Do we want to be behind Android? No. Does it really matter as a thing that makes your phone demonstrably better, makes your life better, makes you in any way more productive? Also, no. Omari O'Connor asks, iCaveAnswers, do you think that Apple is going to make USB-C MagSafe adapter for the MacBooks with USB-C? I don't trust third-party options because the last time I used one it ruined my USB-C cable. So if you mean something that plugs into your USB-C port on your Mac to allow you to magnetize something to it, I don't think Apple would make that. I don't see it being something they would do, and the reason for that is Apple never really bothers about making hardware products for previous generation stuff. They only really make hardware products as something comes out. Then once it's kind of a legacy device, I just don't see them doing it. I think it would be very useful if they did, but I also think there's going to be more stuff going on with MagSafe than just charging, and I don't know how much of that would work through USB-C in the normal way. So I don't see it happening, but it would be cool if they did. Alan B Unboxings and News asks, iCaveAnswers, how are you feeling, Dave? I'm feeling a lot better, still a little bit rough, still a bit throaty, a bit kind of congested, but not so bad. Evan Rogers asks, iCaveAnswers, is the current iPad Pro 11-inch still a good buy? Get well soon. So, I think that the iPad Pro 11-inch is probably a better buy than the 12.9-inch. I'm not, because I haven't seen it in person at least yet, I'm not that bothered about the mini LED displays. The displays in iPads are already amazing. They look fantastic. If this thing is just insane on the mini LED, then maybe it is worthwhile. However, there's some people that dislike the blooming effect. There's some people that kind of just can't really tell the difference, and I think you can only really see the big differences when you're watching HDR content, which there isn't that much of out there yet. I would also say, though, that the M1 isn't being used to its potential yet. If you're using an iPad Pro as your main video editing device and you're doing a lot of exporting and that amount of time will make a difference to you, go right ahead. However, I do think that for the vast majority of people, getting like the previous generation of iPad Pro, or even the one before that, the A12X, not the A12Z, is probably just as good for most people's uses. I don't think it's going to make that much difference. Will it have the longevity of the M1? Probably not. Could there be some software that comes out very soon that, works much better with M1 that actually takes advantage of it? Also, yes. If Final Cut Pro comes to the iPad range, the M1 will make a big difference. I still think the others will be able to run it, but I don't think it's going to run as well on those. You're not going to be able to have as many tracks of video and audio. So I would say that the M1 is a good investment if you're looking for something that is going to last you a number of years. If you need something to work on now, I think the A12X version, which had the single camera, is probably just as good of a buy because most people aren't making that much use of iPad Pro cameras. If you're developing something in AR, go for at least the last generation with the A12Z because that's got LiDAR built in and it's also got better cameras. But otherwise, I think you're pretty safe to go for A12X version, which you can probably pick up for a decent chunk less money. And that's it for this iCaveAnswers, guys. If you've got a question you want to answer in a future show, hashtag iCaveAnswers down in the comments section, and I'd be delighted to read it out and answer it on the show. If you can try and keep them short and sweet, that helps as well. Just keeps the show moving. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.